Give us the big finale, Raichu!
What's going on, TPL? It's your boy, Sauce, and welcome back to the channel. We are here for the Week 4 game against the Sootopolis City Sceptiles, coached by Measly, aka our good friend Peyton. Now, Peyton is... he is a very skilled player. My gosh, that guy has a mind for this. He is very, very calculated in the Pokemon, the plays, the strategies, and honestly, just a good player. Like, he's very good, quick thinking on his feet, very tactical, and our games are always down to the wire, mega intense, sweaty, and just generally so fun to play. So this one is a doozy. However, disclaimer, I ran out of space while recording this video, and so when I finished the recording and tried to check out the replay, the whole thing got corrupted, and I was very sad. So because the recording did get corrupted, I basically asked Measly for his footage, and so you're just gonna see a little bit of a clipped up, condensed version of his point of view, but with my face just slapped over his, so you can get my perspective on how things went throughout the game. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen again. It was very unfortunate, but either way, it happens, and we have made the best of what we can do. So you still will get a replay. Now, in terms of the team builder, however, I have opted to make a separate video, which I'm going to provide as an unlisted link in the description below. So if you are interested in checking out the type of gimmicks, the type of strats that I brought this week in preparation for the Sootopolis City Sceptiles, please feel free to check it out, as I did make a separate video going over the intricacies of the team. Shouldn't be too long, but just wanted to keep it a little bit separate, as I kind of like that idea that other coaches have been doing, of just keeping the team builder separate from the game. That way you don't have to stick around here for too long in case you don't need to. So without further ado, I'm not going to put a timestamp on the video. I'm going to skip ahead because the game's coming up right now against Peyton, the Sootopolis City Sceptiles, Week 4. Let's get it. Let's see what we can do. We're in. Now, okay. Normally, I like to do things live, but here we are. We're in for the game. Now, as you saw the lineup there, he did not bring Landorus, which is interesting. Was kind of expecting that, but, you know, truth be told, it's all good. It's all good. So I kind of cut down this video a little bit as much as I could because it was actually a pretty long game. And so basically my plan here was to lead out with Hisuian Zoroark because, you know, I was looking, he didn't bring the Heatran, which sucks, as that's like the whole point of my Golem. But, you know, we can still provide some illusion gimmicks, things like that. And I just kind of wanted to scout. So luckily he does go for Sludge Wave. He does get the poison though. So that's, it's a little unfortunate just because, well, I'm not going to pause again just because there's nothing really to say, but it really doesn't do well for the disguise here, knowing that anything that's coming in that wasn't poisoned before is, but anyways, so we got some chip, and I'm just going into Tentacruel here because I don't want to eat another Sludge Wave from this thing, as nothing on my team does really, except for this. So he goes into Espeon, not too sure what to do. Obviously I can't Toxic it, but I kind of figured he was going to swap. So the flip turn was nice. Having that pivot momentum, really good. Man, this game was so sweaty. Like, Peyton's such a good player. So, you know, any chance I could to try and outmaneuver him, I definitely tried to take the chance. Now, here with the Espeon, I have no idea what he's meant to do. He is a formidable special attacker, so just figured out bringing our assault vested boy here, our Chaos Dwarf, would be the most sense, or make the most sense. So we try and go for a little spark here, try and get a para, as I don't really want to swap because I don't know what this thing's supposed to do. But as soon as I see screens, I'm kind of sad. Like, this is the only Pokemon on his whole team that learns screens, so just the dedicated role, I guess. So that's kind of unfortunate. We didn't even bring Break or Psychic Fangs, things like that. So these screens are going to stay up as well. No knockoff either. So like the Light Clay is just putting in work. And we try and just fish for some paras. Get none. No paras. That's okay though. But in comes Kevin James. This absolute son of a... Whew. Man, Rillaboom is so stupid. So good. But that's fine. We read this... You know, we could have gone for a Spark, but I'm like, man, after the third time, Gambler's Fallacy. Ain't gonna work. So just do a nice little pivot here, kind of read it out, and then we go into our dedicated answer in Rudy, aka the Gouging Fire. As you can see, like his moves here, they ain't gonna really touch me, so I can kind of freely set up a little bit, but I don't know if this thing's banded or what, so I think about going for the Will-O-Wisp. I think about going for the Bulwark, anticipating he might U-turn, or I just want to make his attack go down. So I just kind of go for a neutral play, get the Breaking Swipe, but it's against the Goodra, which, like, out of all things, this thing is so beefy. And after figuring out what I wanted to do, taking a Draco Meteor to the face was not it. So I'll be honest with you, during the game right here, it is taking a little bit of time, but I ended up running out of time on this decision, but it pays off because, as you'll see here in a second, he's really trying to figure out what to do. So he does Terra. He goes for the Terra Water, which, you know, this Goodra, just a thick boy, right? And if you have Sap Sipper too, the water, pretty cool tech. So really like this set from him. Just a good, yeah. And as you can see, I didn't even want to go for the Bulwark, but I ran out of time. So luckily that was the move, and it actually lets me scout Draco Meteor, which is pretty awesome. So knowing this, I have a lot of information to go off of. I don't expect that he's going to lay off, as nothing, you know, typically wants to take a Draco Meteor. I don't have any fairy types. So I think my best bet is just to swap back into my Golem here, as it is assault vested. I don't really like, it's either that or the Tentacruel, but I didn't really, I wanted this thing to, you know, get some life, maybe have him get scared here. So I'm thinking we eat the Draco. As you can see, pretty sick. Love that, actually. And so after knowing that I can eat this, the slow pivot Volt Switch away was definitely my thought process. So we're kind of playing this game here as, you know, Kevin James is just such a, man, Grassy Glide, so good, everything. But, you know, hopefully we can just Volt Switch back into what we want and go from there. So Kevin James is going to come out here. You know, his team is so good. I'm so surprised he didn't bring the Landorus, but at the same time, very glad, because that base 145 attack is just so menacing to deal with. Like, I was just doing Calixine, like, after a Swords Dance, what that thing could pop off with, and it's not fun. That's for sure. So I'm thinking we go in to Darkrai here because, you know, we had the initiative, and this is kind of what we wanted to, use as an answer. But, you know, so the Grassy Glide isn't in effect because the terrain ends, so that's nice. But during the game, I did forget about the screens, and looking at everything, I'm like, man, Darkrai's just gonna die, or like he's not gonna be able to Oko him behind screens. So this is the main logic behind why I'm going for subs here, just because I'm trying to run out these screen turns. As Reflect wears off, I need to get off one more at least just to get the light screen off, and so he's doing a good job here of calling my bluff and just breaking, which is nice. So Measly, you devious dog. So we're just hurting ourselves here, you know, classic, and, you know, just subbing up as he's just gonna keep breaking, which is honestly, you know, good play on him. So now he has to make a decision. During this part of the game, the light screen does wear off, and final boss can go for an absolute devastating attack. Knowing this, I kind of figured this, so I'm going for the sub anyways, just to kind of give myself a little bit of buffer room, as anything that Goodra is going to fire off, he's not going to have a fun time doing so. So The sub does come off. He thinks I'm doing some sort of berry shenanigans. I'm not. I kind of wish I did. That would have been epic. But no, we're just rocking that expert belt. And so he's just going for the safe play here with the body press. As we just, at this point, I'm not going to swap. Nothing wants to take a Draco. Like, all that work getting the subs off, I don't want to put it to waste. So we're just going to keep rattling off Dark Pulses. As you see, we get one flinch, which is nice. We get a second flinch, which is okay. I'm not gonna lie. When this happened, I was kind of laughing. I was like, this is so unfortunate. And I'm kind of looking at Peyton's face right now as I put mine over top, and he's not a fan of it right now either. So, which is fair. I mean, 2 flinches, 30%. It's nice. Did hit the sparks though, so it's like evens out. I kind of wish I had the paras over the flinches, to be honest, but hey, you can't choose. So he body presses, and we get the sub taken away from this big fat fountain, and Darkrai's just left alone. So he breaks my sub, and I'm expecting him to stay in. So I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose Darkrai just like that. Like, it's still a very good answer to Rillaboom. If Grassy Terrain's not up, which is like a weird scenario that doesn't happen too often. So just make the safe switch, go into my Golem. I know this thing can tank anything, but he swaps into Greninja. So from here, I'm a little bit puzzled on what to do next, as after doing some calcs and realizing that this thing does learn Grass Knot, I can't Terra Water. And if I stay still, basically either way, because of Golem being a big fat ass, his weight just kills himself. So a Protean Specs Grass Knot is just not the play. So I'm not really able to get off the nice Volt switch, as I just have to hard swap, as I don't want to take any damage. But he goes into Rillaboom, as I predict some sort of Sludge Wave or Grass Knot. So that was the play on why I went into Tentacruel. But now I'm faced off against a fresh grassy terrained Rillaboom with a Tentacruel. Now, Tentacruel is not known for the most defense, but we gotta see what we can do. He misses the high horsepower. We go for a Toxic just to get some chip, but he misses the high horsepower. And I'm not gonna lie, during my recording, I looked away for a bit and I was doing some calcs, and I came back and I was so confused on what just happened, as there's no log on what's moves have been made, right? So I just kind of had to guess, and I figured it was a miss from high horsepower, but damn, that one feels super bad. So I'd rather have 2 flinches than a miss horsepower. Like that's tough. So at this point, we're doing a little bit of stall tactics. We get the Toxic off. We're just doing some protects, trying to chip him down as best we can. But, you know, we're not keen on taking a high horsepower. So he swaps here, which I find pretty interesting. I feel like high horsepower could have been free, but knowing, or at least predicting, that he's going to go for a high horsepower, this is where I swap, remove Tentacruel, and I go right into my Scyther. Because Scyther, you know, is immune to ground moves. And it's a flying type, which is nice. So this is interesting right here. This bad boy has come up, and by the way, this is one of the nastiest sets I've ever seen. Mudbostiff is so cool. This is a nasty set, Peyton. It's probably one of my favorite sets I've ever seen. Like, it's so cool. So the U-turn does go off. I'm thinking nothing of it. I really should have thought something of it. I should have just thrown in Tentacruel. Like, that thing is so bad. But instead, we throw away one of our main win conditions right here. And this... Peyton's just popping off right now. Like, I would too. This thing just took down a full HP Gouging Fire, and it was defensive. So that feels so bad. So basically, my answer to Rillaboom, gone. My answer to Sneasler, gone. That turn alone definitely decided a lot. Like, that was tough. So at this point, we go into our Zoroark, who's scarfed here. You can totally tell because of that damn poison status. And, you know, if it was just Tentacruel and he was thinking like a little bit too much about it, he could have maybe thought it was the actual thing and done something different. But he does endure, and we got off the U-turn. So that after seeing that, you know it's got to be Custap, right? So this is where I probably, in hindsight, should have done something a little different. Knowing that he's more of a defensive set, I see like the endure, the stuff. I should have maybe figured, or maybe done a little bit of. I should have maybe called his bluff and seen what he may have wanted to do, because, you know, I go for the quick attack expecting the Destiny Bond, but in hindsight, I maybe should have just started stacking up Swords Dances, and because there's nothing really he can do, especially if I do have that quick attack. So I could have maybe just straight up won the game from here, but I mean, you never know that's going to do anything, right? So we do some calcs after he throws in Goodra here, and we know that dual Wing Beat is going to kill from this range, or at least has a very, very good chance to kill. So we just fire that off, and we're laughing. We're doing, you know, Scyther's putting in work so far. It's got 2 KOs. It's doing quite the debut, you know, which is pretty cool. I love Scyther, and I think that with Eviolite, he actually has a lot of potential. So far, so good. He does bring in the Greninja. I am very scared of a Protean Choice Ice Beam or something along those lines. So I don't want to throw away my main win condition now, as, you know, Gouging Fire is not in the picture anymore. So Scyther is basically my only way to victory. So we really have to just play around that and figure out what we're going to do. Figured that my best switch in to anything this thing's going to throw is Tentacruel, and we eat that up so well. But, you know, knowing that this thing's locked in, I'm pretty sure he's going to swap. So hopefully I go for a flip turn. We'll see what happens. But, you know, at this point, he's got the Greninja, he's got the Sneasler, and the Kevin James Rillaboom. Like, these 3 threats are just so versatile and how they can switch around. So, oh man, it was definitely a tough game, but he's figuring out what he wants to do here, what he wants to switch to, which makes sense because, like, he probably knows I'm gonna flip turn. So at any case, yeah, he makes a good play, just goes into this boy, and, you know, gets the terrain up. So well played as Kevin James re-enters the field. And knowing that this thing has high horsepower, I can't really stay in against this. So yep, the flip turn does go off, and, you know, it's a pretty, you know, despite Goodra and my Bostiff being down, as well as my own Gouging Fire being down, like, we're in a decent spot, but, like, we really have to play around everything. And then, like, especially seeing that Darkrai only has a little bit of HP left. Yeah, okay, I do have to pause it here because, man, Wi-Fi leagues are so stressful. I just completely glazed over the fact that Grassy Glide's priority. So as soon as I swapped in Darkrai into Rillaboom, I kind of threw. I maybe should have just gone straight into Scyther or figured out what to do from there, but I was really, really trying to preserve Scyther as best I could, probably, like, to a fault. So we'll see. So he goes for Grassy Glide, which is just, you know, the safest thing. See, I don't know what that turn did. I just forced the Grassy Glide. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting Toxic Chip, which, you know, at the end of the day, it does make sense. But that just does so much damage, neutral damage for Grassy Glide. But thankfully, with my investment in HP, we have the optimal leftovers recovery, which is the same amount as Grassy Terrain gives. So basically 1/8 of my health is coming back each turn, which is very nice. Now, he makes an excellent play here, swapping into Espeon, which I think going forward, just looking at this game, you know, as I had to kind of clip things together, I think I had to do a lot better job of like managing my win conditions and or like just knowing when pieces aren't very useful. Like, I guess the protect was pretty obvious. He read that, but like this thing's only sponging hits from Greninja, and then at that point it's like, what else is it doing? So yeah, I don't know. The Greninja Scarf was a good play, a bring too, which was annoying. So he goes for Light Screen here, as I'm probably just gonna go for a flip turn, as I just want to get out of here. Yeah, that makes sense. Do some good chip, and we're just gonna go into Darkrai, which is nice. So the Grassy Terrain's giving us some leftover, which I also made sure that our HP, funny enough, did actually end up being optimal leftovers recovery as well. So that's very nice. So I could have gone for a Dark Pulse right away, and I probably should have. But I wanted to try and waste out some more turns, and in case he did want to go for a Reflect, I could catch him off guard. But at this point, he does fire off Draining Kiss. He does take down our Substitute, which is, you know, is a good play. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't want Darkrai to be behind a Substitute, because that's just like, why would you do that to yourself, right? So he's playing it very well. But with Light Screen up, even with Light Screen up, Dark Pulse from Max Special Attack Darkrai with an Expert Belt is going to put in work against Espeon. And there we go. So Darkrai picks up the kill. And the game is still like, the game is very even. He's got 3 Pokemon left, and we have a injured Darkrai, a Golem that's like, what are you gonna do? You're slow as hell. A Tentacruel that honestly the set was pretty bad, but we, you know, we're just making it work. Just like a Stolly, I'm just here type of set, and then the Scyther, our main win condition. So knowing that Grassy Glide is a thing, I figured I could be cheeky and go into Scyther. He makes an absolute read and hits me with the knockoff, which in hindsight, I probably should have just let Darkrai go down, because it stalls out terrain turns and it doesn't risk that happening, my item being knocked off, which if I can then in hindsight swap in with a full health Scyther onto this thing, I think things might have been a little different. So, you know, we get up 1 Swords Dance, we get up 2 Swords Dance, and then we get rid of this thing, and then at a +4 Terra Normal Quick Attack, I think that's doing a lot of damage to Sneasler and to Greninja. But hindsight's 20/20, right? So you never really know what the best play is until you play. So we get up the Swords Dance. He's just going off for knockoffs, and we missed the dual wing beat, which that was the game. As soon as that happened, I was like, that's GG. If you saw my recording, it would have been like, that's GG. All right, what are we doing? Yeah, I straight up I called it right there. Like that was it. There's nothing I could have done, especially knowing that he has a Choice Scarfed Greninja just in the back, and knowing that this thing has undoubtedly a Grassy Seed Unburdened set coming. Like at this point, the game's pretty much done. But you know, we just gotta go and roll through the motions. Can't just quit. So that dual wing beat, it's a little bit of karma in a sense for getting those flinches and that high horsepower miss. So I guess it's even in that regard. So I think the hacks were pretty balanced this game, but that one just hurt a little extra, which kind of sucked, but oh well. Knowing that I have one actual attacking move besides Rapid Spin, I'm going for the safe flip turn, just trying to chip this thing down, because at this point my win condition is hoping that this thing close combats me and just lowers his own stats so that I can get in with some sort of Shadow Sneak priority damage. As you know, base 100 attack from a stab Shadow Sneak might do good, but that +1 defense buff from the terrain and the seed pop procking is just, it's a little tough. So, I mean, he does get off a sword stance, and we now go into our golem, and this game is so over. Like, I'm a rock type, so I do get to terrasilize. You know, in a different world, we would have terrasalized our Scyther into Terra Normal and absolutely popped off. But, you know, instead we got Fountain Boy. You know, it's the battle of Fountain Boys right now. So, Golem, you know, he is a pretty tanky boy, but not tanky enough to live +2 stab close combat from Sneasler. And Chaos Dwarf kicks the bucket, which leaves us with Tentacruel. Tentacruel is our last hope of anything, and yeah, the game's done. The game's done. So at this point, I'm just being cheeky. I don't even know what to do at this point. He's going for Night Slashes, and you know, just trying to get any damage that he can off. I'm just trying to get some chip. As you know, this is the play. This is the play. We're bringing in the Zoroark. I forgot the Zoroark wasn't dead, but it basically is. Oh, right, and we also have the Darkrai. Everything on my team is just basically dead at this point and cannot outspeed this thing. There is a world where this is disguised as Darkrai, and it's actually Zoroark, but because of that damn poison, you know, that whole facade is ruined. So Darkrai just goes down. Quick Dire Claw. Yeah, and now the poison Tentacruel comes out. He's just gonna Night Slash. Knows that's totally not the real Tentacruel. We got off a Shadow Sneak. That does decent damage for +1 actually, which is nice. Or actually, it's neutral at this point because he did get -1/-1. But the Zoroark illusion fades. And now, sorry, we're down to our last Pokemon of the Tentacruel, which, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I try and be cheeky and just go for a Protect here because I'm like, I don't know. I just like being that guy sometimes. This is what it is. But, oh man, it was a fun game overall. Sneasler though, you gotta watch out for that. I think honestly, Sneasler obviously is pretty broken, pretty good, but man, but Bostiff put in absolute work with that one play. Definitely a swing play for sure, but just the consistency of Rillaboom just being such a good Pokemon. That's honestly troublesome. Should have probably prepped for that a little harder, but that's all right. GG's, man. GG's, Peyton. That was insane. That was honestly such a fun game. There's so many different ways watching back now, you know, getting the privilege of watching back that replay. There's so many different ways that I could have navigated that game, but man, you played so solid. There's so many times where in my head, I'm thinking maybe I should go for this, maybe I should go for that. And then just the complete outplays, like legit. You know, there's a lot of takeaways that I can take from this game, just in general for my own play of how to play better. As you know, the Wi-Fi League's been pretty revealing, but in terms of you, Peyton, GG's again, man. That was classy. That was amazing. And I mean, man, good luck for the rest of your season. And I know you're going to make playoffs because damn, you got a tough team and you're an even tougher player. So GG's again. Always a pleasure facing off against you. But we're now sitting at 1-3, which is, it's a tough spot to be in, you know. Coming back, returning with video content, and we're showcasing a lot of what not to do's, but that's okay. That's okay. We're just getting our footing in the whole Wi-Fi battling arena, and you know, we're more of a showdown guy, but that's okay. You know what? There's still time. Top 8 teams make playoffs, and so if we can maybe swing this season back around and maybe bring our 1-3 to a 3-3 by the end of the season, that would be great with me. So our next week opponent for week 5 is against E-Dahl and the North Dakota Noibats, which he's been on a bit of a hot streak this season, so that's not looking too good in our favor. But you know what? We have made some new team changes And you know what? We're going to have to say goodbye to cool Pokemon like SCYTHER and Alolan Golem, but say hello to some really, really cool new threats that I'm going to help showcase in the next game against E-Dahl coming up. So that will be super exciting. But I'm rambling here. Thank you so much again for watching and tuning in. Sorry that the upload has been a little bit delayed or late, you know, just a bit of a busy guy, but you know, we have gotten it out there, so that's what counts, right? So week 4 is done with. GG's again to you, Peyton. That was an absolute masterclass. Absolutely a pleasure playing you as always, and good luck with you. But as for the Raichu, we're looking forward to E-Dahl and the Noibats next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and like, comment, subscribe if you would like, and thank you so much for checking out the video. See you all in the next one. Peace and go Raichu!